Welcome to Paradox Jukebox, an unconventional podcast for the unconventional musician. This podcast is brought to you by Music on the Move Studios, a woman-led company working to help musicians move their careers forward through education and live events. I am your host, Caitie Thompson, and today we have Meg Williams on the show. She's a blues artist out of Nashville, Tennessee, originally from Rochester, New York. And in our last episode, we had Mark Abrams, producer-engineer, who talked about what it means to have the right team in studio with you. Well, now we're going to catch the flip side of this, and Meg is going to talk to you about the artist perspective about having the right team in studio. She is working on her next album right now called Live and Learn, and she is independently releasing it with two producers that she really enjoys working with. And she'll talk about that dynamic. She'll also talk about some of the other cool things that she's been doing down in Nashville, playing with Jenny Teator and a bunch of other cool cats. Throughout this podcast today, I'm going to splice in her new single, Live and Learn. So make sure that you stay tuned to the end of the podcast. You'll be able to get the download link from the show notes. So without any further ado, here is Live and Learn by Meg Williams. Welcome, friends. Today on Paradox Jukebox, I have Meg Williams with me. How are you doing, sweetheart?
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on and doing this episode and just being your lovely self. So we have the showcase coming up at Marathon Music Works next week, and you will be in the backing band, the Hellcats, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. So how many times have you actually played in the backing band? Do you remember?
I think this will be my fourth or fifth time.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah, I think before COVID it was one or two times, and then it's been, I believe, two times. Yes. So this is either my fourth or fifth time.
Awesome.
I love it. So much fun.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about what the experience is like to be a Hellcat and, the whole shebang that it takes to actually be in the backing band.
Yeah. Well, it's a really fun experience because you get to play with other amazing female artists, both in the backing band and the artists that we are backing up. And so I've gotten to meet some really amazing people and hear some really great music. And I'm very thankful to get to play on a lot of these songs too. So yeah, having the experience to play both Accident and now Marathon Music Works. So yeah, it's really fun, really cool experience working with everybody there. So yeah.
Fantastic. So can you talk a little bit about because there's always new artists with a very vast, genre grouping. Like there's, depending upon what show you're at, it might be a little country heavy or it could even be pop heavy. Like this last one that we did was very dark pop rock. Mm-hmm. So nice. Is it like, do you like being able to change it up like that? Is it cool for you or is it kind of nerve wracking?
I think it's cool. I mean, I definitely have like my styles that I primarily play with my own group and with other groups, but I enjoy so many different types of music. So it's fun for me to get to play some stuff that I don't normally get to play. So, yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. So I've been following you and Jenny Teator. You guys had a residency at BB King's for a bit, didn't you?
We did. Yeah, we played there. I believe it was every Monday night for a little while.
Cool. Was it like 3 months or something like that?
It was about 3.5 months.
Awesome.
Yep, up until December there.
That's cool. So what was that experience like?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, to be able to play that venue and that stage, and just in being downtown. I mean, I love being in downtown Nashville, and to play BB King's. Yeah, it was just very inspiring, really exciting. Great stage and great sound, and we always had a good time there. So,
That's
yeah,
cool.
I loved it.
That's cool. I actually don't think I've even stepped foot into BB King's yet. It's just, it
Ooh,
hasn't been something that I've had the opportunity to do. Um,
yeah.
but you also played at Bourbon Street too, right?
Yeah, so we've been playing at Bourbon Street for the past couple of months now, or about 2 months now. Yeah, and that's probably one of my favorite venues to play ever. I love that place. It's just such a cool stage, and really cool vibe in there. So
Yeah.
definitely check it out if you haven't.
Yeah, whenever people ask like, where should we go if we're down in Nashville, my first recommendation is Bourbon Street Boogie and Blues because they
Yes.
they only have the very best talent, and which is obviously why they had you and Jenny there.
Oh, thanks.
So Meg, you're working on a brand new album, right?
I am, yes. I've actually been recording with two good friends of mine, Terry Goose Downing and Tom Del Rossi, right here in Nashville. And actually, over the quarantine, I did a lot of writing. I spent some time back in Western New York, where I grew up, and just I think being in that different environment and everything just inspired so many new songs. So I came back with all kinds of songs and showed them to Terry Goose Downing, and he loved them, and we just started recording them, and it's developed into this wonderful album and project that I'm so proud of. And it's really it's a different sound than a lot of stuff I've released before. It's more of a roots rock Americana, a lot of like Sheryl Crow influence, and Sean Colvin, Tom Petty.
Nice.
And I'll be releasing the first single off of it, which will also be the title track, Live and Learn, on Friday, June 4th.
Cool.
Woo!
Woo!
So super excited about that. And then a few weeks after that, towards the end of June, I'll be releasing the second single, Break My Rules.
Cool.
So, yeah, I'm super excited. Yeah, so a couple singles off the album will be coming out very, very soon. So stay tuned for
Fantastic.
that.
Well, I think we can get this episode aired on the 6th so that it's like right in line with your single release. That's cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool. So talk about the concept of the album. Where does Live and Learn come from?
So that specific song, Live and Learn, is so I grew up in a very small town, and like I spent a lot of time this summer back in that small town, but with a very different mindset and with a lot of new and different experiences under my feet that I certainly didn't have when I was living there full time. So it was really interesting for me to go back to where I grew up, but now I've been touring, I've been living in a city, and just so much different, and to walk along like the streets and everything I knew from growing up, but with all these new experiences. And just reflecting on myself, like a lot of the lyrics I never knew I'd grow up to be a woman on the run. Like I never thought I'd be, chasing something or touring, and certainly never driving in a big city. That was a big one for me. Like, I still vividly remember a lot of the roads that made me nervous to drive on. And now I'm like, what? How did that, So, yeah, so just kind of thinking back, like, wow, I never knew I'd be, jumping on in and going for it and doing a lot of things that, like moving to Nashville. And I moved down here about 5 years ago. I didn't know anyone. I just kind of went for it. And I'm so glad I did. And a lot of the theme of that specific song is I I don't want to spend my life not knowing. I would just rather go for it, and
Yeah.
try something new, something crazy, and go for it, because I would rather do that and maybe it doesn't work out than to not know it all. And I'm very thankful it has been working out. It was the best decision of my life, but reflecting on that, like, hey, let's go for it. Let's try it. So
Yeah.
so yeah, kind of that specific song. There's a lot of other themes throughout the album. But yeah, the overarching song of just like growing and living and learning and reflecting on where I am now from where I was even just 5 years ago. I never thought I'd be doing a lot of stuff that I am doing. So yeah.
That's fantastic. So what was the catalyst in you deciding to move to Nashville 5 years ago?
So it was something I always, not always, but it was something that I had been thinking about for a while. I visited, fell in love with it down here. I was living in Rochester, New York for about 5 or 6 years at the time, and I loved it up there. And I still love it up there, but I was just ready for something new, something different. And but after visiting Nashville, I'm like, oh, this is the place. This is where I want to be. And I loved all the people and the opportunities that Nashville provided. And I was just kind of waiting for everything to line up and kind of get that, burst of like, oh, I'm going to do it. Now's the time. And so thinking back to that, my internship ended, my job ended, a relationship ended, like kind of everything ended at the same time. And I'm like, hey, now's the time. Like, time to do it. Like, my lease ended. So it was, everything really found the place. And like a spot in an apartment down here opened up. So I'm like, wow, like it just all kind of lined up, so I just did it. I'm like, all right, I chose a day and just decided that was, it was, I believe, July 24th. So I'm coming up on 5 years here pretty soon.
That's cool.
Yeah. So just everything kind of lined up, and it was meant to be. But, yeah, I still go up to Rochester about, every summer or so and play a few shows around the area. And I love going back there. So I'm very, very thankful for my time up there. And, I'm also very happy I decided to go for it. And I love it down here. So
That's awesome. So let me ask you this: what would you say to an artist who's thinking about taking that next step and going to Nashville? That maybe they might be a little bit scared about it, because I mean that's a huge move. Like going from your home state to a state that you have no family, you have no friends. Like that's a big move. So what would you say to somebody in that position?
Yeah, and I've lived in New York my whole life, and I didn't tour until I came down here. So doing something like this was so drastic and big for me. So I guess my biggest thing is just just do it, just go for it. Like it's kind of scary, it's kind of thrilling, it's super exciting, just go for it. And I forced myself when I came down here, since I didn't know really anyone, only very few people, and that was still even distantly knew them. I made myself research ahead of time, like, hey, where's the good open mics, where's the good hangs, this and that. And I made myself go out every night upon arrival, just to like force myself to go out by myself to a bar and just meet some people. Some open mics are great places to meet people, because it's a lot of new people also trying to meet people, so you kind of have something in common already, like which is wonderful. And just the more you do it, you're going to start seeing some of the same people, and then you're going to start being friends with them. But just putting yourself out there, and it might feel a little scary at first, but the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to get at it. And then boom, it's just going to be eventually, second nature. But you meet so many good connections doing that. So I guess like one of the best things for me was just constantly showing up and putting myself out there, and just meeting as many new people as I could, each night. And because that led to friendships that I still have today. Some of my best friends I met in that, first first couple of weeks that I moved here. And some of the connections I had, some of the places I play, I met, from going out and just keep showing up and showing up and supporting. And I think that's one of the best things you can do is, just be a nice, supportive person and keep showing up, and you'll meet people and things will start lining up for you.
Well, and they say that, Nashville is a 10-year town, and it seems like you've turned it into much less than that, because within, really within the first couple of years that you got to Nashville, I mean, you started getting some cool shows. Like, you're playing festivals, pre-COVID, like, you were playing festivals all the time, right?
Yeah, thank you. And I've always, and I never like to say, a lot of people do say it's a 10-year town, but I like to avoid that, because if you get it in your head that it is a 10-year town, like, you're going to start kind of making or at least I would personally make excuses like, oh, that's okay. Like, I've got time, but I like to push myself.
Something with a whole lot of love and a little bit of trouble. You're gonna find out what's coming for you. Jump on in, give a little trust, 'cause you never know what you might love, and you might crash it, you might burn, but that's how people live and learn. Or you might give up and you might fall, and I would rather fail.
I like to write out kind of what are my goals for this year. Like, oh, I want to start touring out of state. I want to start, and so, yeah, just trying to just every day do something that's going to do something for your career or your connections, and just keep on pushing yourself and do as much as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think it's so important, because you're right. It's easy to make excuses and say, well, I've got time to, do this later. I won't do it right now. I mean,
I know I would do that. So I try to avoid it personally. Yeah, no, might as well. Got to go for it right now,
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
now is the time.
The more you push, the more that, opportunities open up to you. So, if you could, like, talk about, the International Blues Challenge that you were part of, and then you also did the Women in Blues, like, that was down in Memphis, right?
Yeah, that was down in Memphis. That is one of the most exciting weeks, the International Blues Challenge. It's usually, I believe, at the end of January, beginning of February, a very cold time of year down there, but it is so much fun. People from all over the world come, and you just meet so many amazing musicians from so many different countries and cities, and I was very thankful to get to compete with the Kentucky Blues Society. I believe it was 2019, and then I was also the house band director for 2019 and 2020. It was about a month before everything kind of shut down. They were able to have it. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
2020. I feel like it's so much time has passed. Like, do you ever do that? I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What year are we on?
Yeah, you gotta think about it like, wait, how much time have I lost?
How much time is that? Yeah. Oh my goodness. So I'm so thankful that I got to do that. It's really just, you meet so many incredible artists, and I was thankful so with the house band, several of the artists, travel there alone, so we would learn their music and back them up, or they would just need a guitarist, or they would just need a drummer. So it was kind of helping to provide them with what they needed for their set.
Cool.
And it was just a really exciting, about 5-hour-long show and showcase at Alfred's on Beale, and yeah, it was so exciting, and I just love it down there. Memphis and Beale Street is really inspiring, and especially during that week.
Yeah, for sure. I actually haven't been down to Beale Street yet. So the
Ooh.
only part of Memphis that I've seen is actually Graceland, and that's about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Um,
you gotta get down to Beale Street.
yes, for sure. So, okay, so you're not just a great songwriter, but you're also a fantastic guitar player. And
Thank you.
yes, absolutely. Well, and it's not very often that we see like really, really strong female guitarists. And so I was kind of hoping that maybe you could, maybe shine a light a little bit on, what you did as a guitarist to like really better your skills, like, the types of things that you practiced or the types of things that you listened to.
Yeah. I mean, I constantly listen to music and all different types of music. And then especially if you're learning something, I put it on repeat, over and over and over. And I think one of the best things that I've done is just like surround yourself as much music and live music and incredible players as you can. Like going to the jams here, you practice yourself on your own time and you learn different songs and different solos and different skills, but putting them into action is just as important, if not more important. So forcing myself to go to so many different jams around town and get up on stage with really incredible players and learn from them, and it really pushes you. So you take those skills you learn in your bedroom and you bring them out to the jam, and over the course of 4 or 5 years my playing has grown so much from doing that, just in seeing videos from where I was about 5 years ago to now. And that's one of the biggest things, is just keep going. Those jams did so much for me, because you're surrounded by these amazing players and you learn from them and kind of see what they're doing, watch what they're doing, and they might inspire you to do something different in your playing, and you just grow. And then things you find out about your playing you need to go home and work on, and
Yep.
And it's just kind of a cycle like that. Like in each time it's you do a little bit more and then you learn a little bit more, and so and then you do that for years and you get better and better. So that's one of the best things that's helped my playing, is doing the jams.
For sure. Yep,
Yeah.
I can definitely identify with that. I think, doing some of the jams that I've done down in Nashville, it was really cool because, hopping on stage with people you've never met before in your life. I mean, it feels so different than, playing with your band or playing with people that you've known for years. It's really, it pushes you. It really does.
Yeah. It absolutely does. And especially when you get up there and if it's a song you've never heard before, you don't know, but like, oh, you gotta know it right now, so
Yeah.
it pushes you to kind of do some things, or it really works like, skills that you've learned, but it puts them into action. So I personally have developed my skills so much from doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you this. So with, with being in Nashville the last 5 years and being around all these really amazing players, now that you're working on this new album, do you feel that a lot of what you've picked up from these jams is influencing, maybe the way that you produce this album?
I think it's just like a big combination of my playing has grown, my songwriting has grown, being surrounded by amazing players and also amazing songwriters. And also like my musical interests. Like I listen to so much music, but one style of music that really got me interested in playing, especially electric guitar, was classic rock. So that is always, classic rock and Southern rock. I just have always, had a strong place in my heart and in my interests. And just listening to so much music, I think it's just a big combination of, the jams and things that I'm hearing out and about, and new music that I'm listening to and or revisiting.
Yeah.
And just the songwriters that I surround myself with, and just having the time and space to create over the past year, and just see, I never like to force my songwriting to come out a certain way. It's just whatever happens, I just let it,
Yep.
let it come out. And these songs are what came out from that, which is more of like a roots rock, Americana rock kind of vibe. So yeah,
That's cool.
big combination.
I'm super stoked for that. You and I have similar tastes in music, so I'm so excited to see what comes out of this album. So are you co-producing it with somebody, or are you producing it yourself?
So Terry Goose Downing and Tom Del Rossi are producing the album.
Cool.
And and just the three of us have been working together and making a great team, and I'm super excited to share it with the world.
So when you're in studio with them, can you talk a little bit about what that looks like? Because we just did an episode where we had Mark Abrams on, and he's talking about, like pitfalls to avoid when you go into the studio. So since you're an artist currently right now in the studio working on an album, maybe discuss a little bit of the process.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit different of a process for me with this specific album because I was recording it with two good friends. So, two friends and I did a lot of the actual recording part at Terry Goose Downing's house in his home studio. Mm-hmm. So we play together all the time. We write together, we hang out together. And so we were kind of just always together, super comfortable creating together as it was. So to go to the studio, to his home studio, it was, super comfortable, and we just dive right in. And, it all depended on, what we felt like working on that day. And we never pushed anything too hard. Like maybe one day would be lead vocals on a track and harmonies, and we knock out that song, and then the next time would be guitar and vocals, so it really we just kind of work together and see how what we felt like working on for the day. So it's a little bit different experience with this one because I was working on it with friends that I have been creating with for a while, so I was already super comfortable in the studio. And I guess my biggest piece of advice is make sure you're working with people and in a studio that you feel comfortable with. Because I do my best work if I'm encouraged and comfortable and feeling good, feeling excited, and that's how we did together. And I think this music is coming out so wonderful because you can hear that and you can feel that in the playing and in the recording. Make sure you work with people that are going to give you the right kind of atmosphere that you need to record in. Because I know that not every studio is like that, but I know that I personally thrive best when I'm feeling really good and like really pumped, and somebody in the room is like, yeah, that was the take. So that's has been wonderful to work with them. I also record a lot with Taylor Leonardo in town, and it's the same way with him. So just being in those atmospheres where you feel like you can be your best, and so that was probably my biggest thing is whoever it is you're working with, just make sure that they're there to pump you up and excite you and be the best that you can be.
Yeah. No, that's real. I mean, so many artists go into the studio and you hear about people with these sessions where it's like, I spent 12 hours in the studio today, and it's I don't think I could ever imagine doing that, because that sounds exhausting to the point of like, how would I even make it vocally for 12 hours, granted, you wouldn't be recording all of your vocal tracks for 12 hours, but I don't know how you would even exist the next day. I would just die in my bed.
Yeah, you'd be able to hear it. And we've been working on this album just like a little bit at a time for about a year now, or not quite a year, but, approaching 9-10 months. But that's the thing is, like, we wanted to spread it out and make it just the best that it could be. And, so we might have a week where we'd work on our vocals on a song, or we'd have a guitar day. But we never wanted to pressure it. So we would do, a couple hours at a time and spread it out over several months. And it just, worked out great. So I'm super excited about it.
That's so cool.
They're just so talented and so wonderful, and I'm very thankful to be working with them.
Well, that is fantastic. Congratulations, friend. I'm so excited for this album. Okay, so you've got first single is coming out, and that's the title track, Live and Learn.
Yes.
And then what was the second one again?
Break My Rules. So that'll be at the end of June.
Cool. End of June. All right. So you guys heard it here first. You need to go and follow Meg and get ready for this album to come out. I'm so pumped for it. So Meg, tell us where can we find all of your music?
So megwilliamsmusic.com. And all the music will be on all the streaming sites and, sites for purchase and download when they come out. But you can find everything at megwilliamsmusic.com.
Awesome. Fantastic. And your tour schedule is there too, right?
Oh, yeah. Everything's on there. Video, music, tour schedule.
Fantastic.
Go listen. Come see me.
Awesome. Woo! Well, thank you so much, friend, for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, super stoked for everything that you're doing. So it's been a pleasure, friend.
So much fun.
Thank you so much, Meg, for being on the show today. We appreciate you, dear. If you want to check her out, it's megwilliamsmusic.com. Links will be in the show notes. Her new single, Live and Learn, is coming out soon, so make sure you go find it. You can find out more about us at musiconthemovestudios.com/paradoxjukebox. My name is Caitie. You can find me at catiethompsonmusic.com. If you would please be so kind to leave me a review on the Spotifys or the iTunes or wherever you are finding this podcast, I would be grateful. Thank you so very much for listening in, my friends. And thank you to Miss Erin McLendon for this amazing theme song. We will check y'all later.